Hello everybody and welcome back to Some Bond Geek Talks About with me, your host, Henry Stevens. How do you do, everybody? And today we're going to be asking the question that I think a lot of people, weird enough, are answering even before the 10 years over, but that is basically, where are we going to go after Daniel Craig has finished his tenure as 007? Which way is the series going to go? And you know what, if you go online, there are tons and tons of like different theories about what they might do and who they might cast. And as you know, if you go on this channel previously, I have done my list of who people I think they should cast as James Bond after Daniel Craig. If you go on the channel again, if you look down the videos, you'll find it easily there. But the question is, whenever a new Bond actor starts, it always, there's either been like a different tone and change of direction. There's always been maybe something about it that just is a bit different and like a bit of a mini restart. Or in the case of Daniel Craig, a big restart. They rebooted the whole franchise, didn't they? But anyhow, sorry. Let's talk about, in my opinion, the couple of things that they might do, or maybe something of interest they might do. Now, the first one we should mention absolutely clearly is this. Number one, they'll just carry on in the new rebooted universe, Bond 2.0, and just get a new actor to play James Bond and carry on. That, to me, honestly, is the most obvious thing they can do, and it makes the most sense. You started the Bond universe with Casino Royale. Why just stop it now? You've only done 5 films. You could get another 15, Every 20 films you get a complete rebooted universe, but sort of thing. And to be honest, I think it makes sense. I think you could carry on the rebooted universe because there's so much stuff you can do. I mean, at the moment, there's still talk about Rami Malek. Obviously, he's playing Safin, but is he secretly Dr. No? We don't know. Me, personally, if he ended up being Dr. No, I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with them sort of rebooting some of the old villains and giving them a new twist and style to them in the new continuity. And you could do that with so many. I'd love to see a new Rosa Klebb, new Emil Largo, a better version of Christatos, maybe. Hey, bring back one of my favourite villains of the Bond series, Alec Trevelyan, in the new series. I'd be up for that. There's so many. I don't think the new rebooted universe is done yet. Just carry it on. You set up this whole thing. Why just literally now just stop it and do something else? But here's why, actually. Number 2 is a potential thing they could do is turn Bond into a real cinematic shared universe. Now, this one, I say I'm being far-fetched here, but fact of the matter is, Marvel does incredibly well. DC are sort of going to think about, will they try and turn Bond into a cinematic universe? I think no, because of this reason. Number 1, Marvel's really been the only one who's really done it. And weird enough, the turn everything into a cinematic universe has really sort of come and gone. Everyone's like, so many people have tried it, it hasn't worked. And I don't think Bond are going to do that. But if they did, there is potential. There is potential, everybody, because think about it. You could do a Felix Leiter movie. You could do Lashana Lynch's character Naomi, because she is, as we know, 007 in the new film. She can be given another number and do her own movie. You could do something like that. You could do other 00 agents in the series and create new characters. You could potentially branch out the whole series. But Bond keeps the theme tune in the gun barrel and do something else with everyone else. That could be possible. I think that's actually firmly possible. It's a bit limited at the moment because honestly, all I can think about is Felix Leiter and Lashana Lynch's character who could really do it. But they could turn it into a cinematic universe. So yeah, that's something they could do. But here's another idea. Here's something I'm interested in. I hear a lot of people talking about, but actually the more I think about it, the more I get potentially excited about this. Now, the Bond series has survived so well because it's been up to date and relevant, or it's been ahead of the gun, basically. And with that being said, what is something that no other franchise is doing at the moment, which is doing really sort of period pieces? Now, what would be interesting if, going back to the idea that each film is its own thing in its own encapsulation, if the next actor who plays James Bond, you can go, right, the first film in his series is going to be set in the 60s. We're going to do an old school 60s spy thriller. Bring back the 60s, and then that will suddenly start a trend of other franchises going, you know what, let's take our films back in time. Let's do them as if they're in the 1980s or something. Joker really enough proved my point actually with this, because Joker is obviously set in the 70s. And, that film could have just been easily as been a modern day thing because the themes are there. You can do the same thing with Bond. I think if you decided we're going to start off Bond again now, he's going to be back in the 60s again. I think it could work. And then, you can carry on with the 60s, and then you can say, actually, you know what, his next film is going to be the 70s, and then the 80s, and then another 90s Bond film. You could do that. And I think it would be very interesting, because you're basically saying to the audience, it doesn't really matter. You could have a Bond in any era, and it could work. And it could be a whole new thing of doing spy films or any films in alternating decades. It could, I think, actually be quite interesting. I've said the more I think about it, the more excited about it. Because, heck, I talked about the thing. Do it in the 50s when Bond books began. Do a Bond film set in the 50s. Because it's different, it's unique, and it's something that no one's really seen for either for a very long time or haven't seen at all. And that is a way of keeping the series fresh, because you can keep the modern day themes in these time periods for the most part, but you're restricting as well Bond really being on his wits again. That could be something really interesting. So the more I think about it, because when I started off this video, I was thinking, yeah, just keep it in the, new continuity timeline, but actually do alternating decades, do alternate times when the Bond films are set. That could be really, really interesting in my opinion. And the last theory I have on this is basically simple, is they decide, you know what, back to the original timeline. Bond's, Daniel Craig's era is just like a little pocket universe of films, back to the original continuity. And I think this one would be the least likely of all of them, because, the reason they got away from that and doing Casino again was to give Bond a real sort of head start. You go back into that continuity, honestly, nothing much would change, but basically all the work that you've done with Daniel Craig's era will basically be, yeah, that was a nice little thing, all right. And I don't see the point in that. I don't see any logic in that. So yeah, that's really my thoughts. We should, I think they should either keep Bond in the new universe that they've set up and just change the actors always and just move forward and do something new and fresh, maybe introduce the old villains in, or B, I really think actually there's some great potential in taking Bond maybe back to the 50s or the 60s, do a sort of series of there, bring in the modern day themes and anxieties and bring them into the 60s, and heck, even maybe swap around a bit, do one film in the 60s, one in the 70s, one in the 80s. You get my point. It could be interesting and unique, and it's something no one else is doing, and it could be showing us a new way of doing spy thrillers again. But everybody, I want to know, what are your thoughts on this? Do you like this? Do you not like this? What way do you think Bond should continue after Daniel Craig finishes? I want to know. Comment down below. Tell me what you think. As always, everybody, my name's Henry Stevens. This has been Some Bond Geek Talks About. Goodbye.